take 51 or something. I don't even know at this point. Anyway, what's going on, peeps? Joshua here, and welcome to Diamond in the Raw MTB, where by the grace of the Lord, I get to share my adventures out exploring His beautiful creation. Today, here in the NRV, it is raining, so I am not going for a ride. And as I was sitting around, I figured it'd be a great opportunity to go ahead and have a bike check on this 2013 Diamondback Mason that, by the Lord's provisions, He has allowed me to put together and continue to go ride the hills. Scope it out, peeps. So yes, 2013 Diamondback Mason I acquired last year. I think it was around April or May or something. Anyway, it had a bunch of components on it that were pretty awesome, and ended up swapping those components onto the Toka 1, which in another video I've told y'all in the past, I have given that Toka 1 to a kid down in Whitfield, and he's still shredding as far as I'm aware. Haven't chatted with them in a while. Look forward to catching up with both Cole and Ethan, the Whitfield boys, here in the near future. But anyway, so yeah, it was just the frame sitting there for a while because, well, it was broken back here, which it is actually cracked again after Sean, the welding guy in Parisburg, did a repair right here. So this has fractured again, and so there is a little bit of wibble wobble there, holding on by a thread right here. We'll get that addressed down the road. No big deal, because guess what? As long as the seats slam down in there, going down hills. All right, peeps, time for a bike check. Let's go. Starting here at the handlebars. E13, 800 mil wide, 35 mil clamp with, I believe it's a 6-degree sweep to them. Anyway, maybe a slight rise, but very minimal. Fantastic bars. Once I had gone from the 31.6 to the 35 mil clamp, huge difference in vibration dampening. Highly recommend that for anyone who wants to do aggressive riding. Just go to the fat bars straight away, for real. All right, next, at either end of the bar, I have ODI Ag2 Grips, which after about a year of solid use, a little over a year of solid use, they could stand to be replaced. No big deal. They're still working quite well, and I've been well pleased with them since I got them. I recommend the Ag2 Grips. There you go. All right, the handlebar. It is attached to the steer tube with a box, 50 mil stem, of course 35 and then 31.6, whatever for the steer tube. Anyway, that's that. The stem, it works. What more can I say about it? What else is on the handlebars, peeps? Got some brake components, right? Got the little brake levers, right? So the brakes, they are Magura MT Trail brakes. Extremely well pleased with them. I mean, they have done everything I've needed them to do on all the trails I've had an opportunity to ride, and I have never gotten to a point where I've felt like I'm in a situation where I'm under brake. You know, not enough brakes, not enough bite. Now, of course, the MT Trails themselves are a 4-pot front, 2-pot rear. They grab onto Shimano RT66 rotors. I have a 203 up front with a 180 in the rear. That has been a phenomenal combination since I've been able to get set up with the Maguras. Now, I have gone through a set of front pads already, and so the front actually has the Trucker Cove pads. Super happy with them, y'all. Super happy. I've had them on there now for a couple months-ish or so, and couldn't ask for anything better for their price point. So, Trucker Cove pads, good to go in my book. Next, off to the shifter, right? So that's a little Shimano Dior 11-speed shifter, as it's an 11-speed cassette back there. goes through some housing, yada yada cable, to an SLX rear derailleur. So the mech is the 11-speed SLX RD blah 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 blah. Don't remember that. RD 8000. Don't recall. Got it 2 years ago maybe. Been working great. It's just an arm thing and it swings. Oh, it's the mid-length cage. I will say that, which limits me to either a 46 or a 48 tooth cassette in the rear. No big deal. Still well pleased with the setup that it is right now, because I believe, I know it's a micro shift cassette, but I cannot for the life of me remember if it's 46 or 48 tooth. Whatever that rear mech maxed out at, that's what the climbing cog is on the cassette, 46 or 48. So there's that. Pretty alright with that. Alright, that's that stuff. The chain, it's old, needs a new cassette because, well, the cassette's worn out because I never changed the chain, and, well, I rarely lubed it, any of the stuff. So, you know, wore out the cassette way early, peeps. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that. Up front on the drivetrain, as I'll just continue with the drivetrain real quick, is a race face, narrow wide, in red 32 tooth chainring. Works great. That's made it up to a Gnopper. Don't know who they are, but it's a Gnopper off of eBay crank set, so crank arms and external hub bearing setup, bottom bracket setup, and attached to the Gnopper crank arms are some old block pedals that I have no idea who they are, who made them, or what. Don't even know, peeps. Anyway, they work great. Next, going back up to the top here, get into the fork, right? Or no? Do you want to do the headset? Headset, real simple, quick. It's got a Cane Creek up top, Chris King down below. Chris King was original with this, but then I swapped out for the Cane Creek up top for no reason. I don't know. It's in a video I did back. But then the fork. Found out recently when I was doing some research on SR Suntour. Apparently, the Ion, AION 35, this is a 2017 model, that was a new takeoff. I scored on eBay for around $315. And come to find out, SR Suntour does not suggest using this for any of the riding that I do. It's supposed to be for on-road riding of e-bikes. Yeah. So I'm going to reach out to them and ask them about that. Now, about this, otherwise, it's actually been pretty fantastic. I changed the, the negative coil spring or something like that. I did change that negative coil spring to the soft, I think it was. And that made a stellar difference. And of course, it's running like 4 or 5 volume spacers, and at which point I've been pretty super happy with it. Obviously it's no Fox, but it does what I need to do. It handles the business, y'all. Y'all seen the riding, peeps. Alright, talk about the wheels, right? The wheels, mix match set. The front wheel came off the Roscoe. That is a Duroc 40, so Sunringle Duroc 40, and up until yesterday, it did have the Butcher 2.8 on there. Now it has, thanks to Captain ACOG, a Bontrager XR14 issue 27.5 2.6. So yes, it's 27.5 setup, by the way. 27.5 setup in the rear. And the hub, it's just whatever the OE hub was on the 2018 generation Trek Roscoe. So there's that. Otherwise, that's all of that. Front wheel is actually all original to the Roscoe, just with different tire on it. On to the back. The back wheel came from the Tokel 1, which is a built wheel because, well, I did not have a non-boost through axle hub, right? what did I have to do, peeps? Well, for the 1,700 views it received on that short, I had to take a boost hub, thanks to a buddy for providing that, and cut the axle, right? It's a beautiful thing. Just shorten the axle down a little bit, and has worked phenomenally. Yes, it is ever so slightly off-centered. However, has that made a difference for my riding? Well, let me put it to you like this. Here recently, I just got my second fastest Strava time on Blunderbuss, one of my favorite trails, of course, at 1:52, right? Which is basically tied for my personal record that I did back in April or May on the Roscoe. So, does that little fraction of offset make a big difference? Nah, not really, peeps. I have not noticed any kind of a difference. So yes, though I don't recommend doing it. But hey, I mean, come on now, peeps. Alan Milliard, the guy over in the UK, cuts engines up, welds them back together, and makes all sorts of cool different size engines that don't exist. 5 cylinders and 3 cylinders, and taking 1 cylinders and turning them into 2 cylinders. Peeps, come on now. If he can do that with internal combustion engines, I'm pretty quite sure I can cut down an axle and make it work. And by the grace of the Lord, it works. Fascinating. So there you go. That's actually that take on the whole boost hub and a non-boost frame. Works flawlessly, peeps. All right. Now that hub, I am not even sure what the brand is on that. I think it was an OE takeoff from a buddy on Instagram, Doug. Thanks, Doug, for that. Appreciate you. So, with his assistance, I was able to experiment with that. All right. Wrapped around this Lineman U28. It's a Lineman U28 that came on the 2016 Toka 1. That is the Specialized Slaughter in the 2.3. It's a phenomenal tire. If you like to climb, don't buy it. You're just not going to be happy. I don't like to climb, peeps. I'm a hiker by heart that just likes to come down the hills faster. That's it. So yeah, Slaughter is a super fun tire. I mean, it lets you rip down the trails. It's just so fast. I highly recommend giving one a shot. And you'll probably, I don't know, most people probably won't prefer it, but most people also don't like riding fixed gear bikes. And well, I've got a fixed gear over there that I thoroughly enjoy going and putting on 10, 15 mile rides. No problem. So yeah, I'm one of them people. Also eat candy corn. Weird, I know. Alright, so that's the wheels done. You got the Duroc 40 up front, Lyman U28 in the rear. I'm not running tubeless setup. Both of these wheels are a little beat up and just not able to be run tubeless. So yes, I have tubes in them. Front is just tube stuffed in there. The rear, actually, if y'all have seen the other video somewhere in the collection, I actually have an old tube that's been cut down the inside diameter of it. Valve stem has been removed, and it actually lines the inside of the tire, adding an extra layer of protection for that tube. Has served phenomenally, and despite the weight penalty, I mean, go look at my Strava times, peeps, on some of the, some of the trails that are more difficult. And it's pretty competitive with some of the people riding more fancier get-ups. There is that. All right, next. Gone over all drivetrain stuff, and rotors and brakes. We're just really down to the seat post. It's a race face seat post. Which, as a matter of fact, come to think of it, the 3 original pieces to this 2013... Actually, sorry, 4 original components that were on this bike when I first picked it up are the race face seat post in a 30.9, which I do hope to get a dropper in there sometime here in the near future. The seat, which is a Gorilla Gravity stamped SDG saddle. The race face 32 tooth chainring I mentioned it previously. And then bada bing, bada boom, the lower headset there, which is the Chris King that was previously installed by the owner who originally owned this bike, as he installed various different components. Oh, and I guess mention one last thing. It does have a chain guide that came with this bike originally. Almost failed to mention that, peeps. And yes, having a chain guide on a half squish, brilliant. Get it. Do it. Alright, that's been a bike check. That's how I go down hills. Let me know how you go down hills. Okay, bye.